set that appointment last Tuesday on our webinar at 8 a.m. It was a couple of people said, yeah, good luck with that appointment. 8 a.m. I set at least 50% of my Saturdays. My first appointment is out 8 a.m. If they will say, that's the first one I'm trying to set, and I'm trying to set my 8 p.m. I usually run 8, 10, 12, 2, 4, 6, 8. I try to go for 7 appointments on a Saturday. Like I shared with you, probably only have averaged about 3 appointments if I get back to a real average. And on those 3 appointments, I am averaging in a home 1.8 applications. So not to say, hey, yay is me. What I want to share with you is if I can do that, it's a system, guys. It's really right there is the mindset. With the mindset, you're looking at viewing each person that you're sitting with as a 100 monthly or as a buying unit of $100 a month of monthly premium. I just go into the home. I believe that's a technique. Most techniques of most agents are going in, am I going to sell this? Get the stinking thinking out of your mind. You view each person that you sit with as a $100 a month premium, straight up. I've had some agents who are doing a better monthly premium than I am. My monthly premium average in mortgage protection is $86 a month. And I've had other agents say I go in thinking of them as $200. I'm in rural Indiana where I run my leads, and I can be challenged with trying to change that thinking. That 8 a.m. that I set last week, if you remember, it was Candace and Jeff were the 2 folks that I sat down with. Candace is a UPS driver. Jeff works for Unique Windows. Jeff left the house Saturday morning, and he had to go on a job site. He was back at 8 a.m. ready for me because of the way I told Candace I need Jeff there. I wrote a $37 Phoenix term on Candace, and I wrote a $54 Mutual Omaha Living Promise on Jeff without going into it too far. But Candace was able to qualify for the term. Jeff had, this is where you've got to have some product knowledge. I couldn't offer a term to Jeff because he had 2 stints put in 3 years ago. However, he would qualify for a final expense product. You know what? I sold them both mortgage protection. It was a $1,000 a month mortgage that Candace had on her home. Jeff is her fiance living with her, not on the mortgage. So most folks will say, well, just focus on who has the mortgage. No, no, no. No one-leggers. If you do this business on one-leg business, and I was visiting with a friend for the sake of anonymity and not beating up my friend up in Michigan who did a one-legger, and he says, I know I shouldn't have. Guess what? He didn't sell it. I hope you don't sell one-leggers because all you're doing is confirming bad behavior. No one-leggers. So when I sold that term to Candace and that final expense to Jeff, they were both mortgage protection. That's a technique. When Candace, $100,000, actually it was $150,000 on Candace, if I recall that correctly. Was it 150 or 100? But $37 a month, I do remember that. And it was a 30-year term. On Jeff, her 54-year-old fiance, it was still mortgage protection, but it was 1 year's worth of house payments. So what was that? That was a $12,000 whole life. On $12,000, what is that? That goes into having a $1,000 a month for 1 year for Candace. So that gave her mortgage protection. Upon Jeff's death, he would be able to pass on 1 year's worth of house payments to Candace. Set the stage for production, starring your responders. In a few slides, you're going to understand what I mean by responder, but that goes back to new terminology. Set the stage, not starring you as the performer, but as the director. All I'm doing is setting the stage. I believe that's a mindset or a technique. It is critical that you ask the right questions. I'll be as blunt to say, just shut up and listen. If you can get the responders to start talking about themselves, you win. If you are talking more than 40% of the time, you lose. 40%, that means my client should be speaking at least 60%. Yes, you are a questionnaire. This is almost contrary to traditional insurance thinking. I've got to go in there and let them know this is a product that they need. I never use the word product. Again, I'm going to go back to some of my terminology here in a few slides. It's not a product or an insurance policy. It's protection. You want to do everything you can to empower you to set the stage for this production. And everything I do in this production, it's going to be titled their hot button. Why am I here? When you find out the why, you actually can start the closing. When do you start the closing? When I'm at the door and I cross that threshold. I'm closing. Everything I'm doing is leading towards the sale. Huge, huge likability factor. I do everything I can to come across a little bit as a dork or as a geek or anything other than, hey, I'm a slick salesman. Hey, like me because I'm good looking and suave and debonair. Yeah, I might be all those things. Yeah, right. But I've got a likability factor when I'm sitting with my clients. I want them to like me. And it's not because of a need of, woe is me, I need to be liked. No, because I'm smart and I know the more they like me, the more they will trust me. There is a sincerity, a humility, and an ability that I carry my emotions on my sleeve. Yeah, sometimes that doesn't work so good in relationships because you need to make sure that you're a strong, stable person. So maybe a different hat. Yeah, guys, if you ever meet my wife, she is, I'm 6'1". I'm getting closer to 200, but I'm okay looking. But when you meet me, you don't think of me with a 5'8", phenomenally beautiful, long hair, blonde, blue eye, 126-pound wife. Now, don't be thinking any further. Come on, that's my wife. But we are madly, passionately in love with each other. After 17 years, we are madly, passionately in love with each other. I can't think of living life without her. I love the fact that she loves my Lord Jesus Christ, so I can even love her more. I did not have a likability factor, I would never be with Beth. She didn't go to me because, wow, this is a good-looking dude, suave and debonair. But I was likable. I was sincere. I was humble. Those things, and walking with my relationship with the Lord, those things are what she was attracted to. I had written down on a piece of paper, Father, I want. And I was so goofy of even putting, how I would like my wife after coming out of a tough marriage. I was happy with 3 boys. Oh yeah, by the way, when I was 36, a divorced dad of 3 boys. That's when I met this 26-year-old, phenomenally beautiful, single woman, never married, no children, and divorced dad of 3 boys. I really thought she had to be whacked to be able to. But what did I do? I was the director of my onstage performance. And you need that ability. When I drive up to a home, and again, these are techniques, but these are important. Everybody who's on the call, I'll send this PowerPoint out to you. But when I pull up to the car, there are certain things I never do in my car in front of the client's home. I never park in their driveway. God forbid you park in the driveway and it's a concrete driveway and your car may leak a little bit. It may never have leaked the day before, maybe brand new, but guess what? That day it's going to leak. Don't park in the client's driveway. Some exceptions have to be there if they're a mile from the road or a long driveway. I understand. Do your best to park on the road. As soon as I step out of the car, I wave. Little techniques. I step out of the car, I look at the door, and I wave. I don't see anybody 95% of the time. However, get this. I've had some clients come back and say, yeah, if you didn't see us through the window, we wouldn't have answered the door. I never saw them. But what was that? That was them. Oh, Agnes, he sees us. Now we've got to answer the door. Just little things that slide the pendulum in your favor. You want to stack the deck. You want to be able to direct this performance. When I get out of the car, I'm never going back to my trunk to get something out of the trunk. That doesn't look good, guys. If you have to go to your back seat, reach over your seat to get to the back seat. Don't open the door and then open the back door. It looks too goofy. Get all those things in place. Have one notebook that you carry in. Don't carry in a suitcase. Don't carry in a big briefcase. Have one notebook. I've got 2 policies. I've got 2 applications from Phoenix Term. I've got 2 applications from Mutual Omaha Term. I've got 2 applications from Mutual Omaha Living Promise Final Expense. I've got 2 children's applications from Mutual Omaha. I have 2 accidental applications from Mutual Omaha. That's it. I've got a couple little flyers that give me a real quick synopsis on a guaranteed issue through Gerber and through Columbian Financial Group. But I don't write very many of those policies. Most people that you write with who qualified for a mortgage will qualify for one of those applications that I just gave you. I will send you the slide presentation. This will be on our website like we are recording all of our other ones so that you can refer back to those. But that's all you need to carry into the home. I'm walking up to the door. When I'm standing at the door and I do my knock, I don't stand by the door. I drop back by 2.5 steps, at least 2.5 steps. So there's a good distance between me and the person who answers that door. And before they answer, after I knock, I turn at least 40% out of, some of you guys have ran appointments with me. You know I do this. I turn my body with what you call a lead sheet. I call a responder form, but my lead sheet is on top of my notebook that I'm having in my left hand, and I turn away at least 40%, and I find something to look at. I don't want to be staring at the door. That's a technique. Make yourself, everything we do in this business, you've got to make yourself user-friendly. So when they answer the door, then when I can see them in the corner of my eye that they're there, I turn back and you are all smiles with sincerity and say, from your lead sheet, you must be Candace. Hi, Candace, I'm here for our 11 o'clock visit. Technique, not appointment, not lead sheet responder form. I'm here for our 11 o'clock visit. However she responds, she opens the door. I'm standing at the door. I'm closing. How do I close? Well, I'm closing from my wave. I'm closing from the way I'm standing at the door. I'm doing everything to become user-friendly, but I am going to, and I've got that lead sheet. I'm showing her right there. She knows why I'm there. I am bowing down. I'm humbling myself. I'm humbling myself to take off my shoes. Guys, I don't want to take my shoes off. I take my shoes off in my own home, but I don't want to take my shoes off. I don't know what's on those floors, but I want to protect that family. Again, more of a technique there, more of a mindset. You're not there to make the sale. Do a mind shift for yourself, for the benefit of your closing. You're there to protect that family. Sometimes you got to get them out of their stupidity, out of their stupid ways to see that they need this protection. That's your job to become better, a better person. The better of a person you become, I guarantee it, the better of a closer you will become because you're going to want that connection with that family. You don't want the sale. You want to protect that family. A technique, what I call mindset. I'm bound down, take off my shoes. I start to take off my shoes and I look up and I say, leave my shoes here. Because I want them to say, oh, no, don't worry about that. Follow me. It's a technique. You make sure you are every single time. I do this every single time, guys. Even if it's a dirt floor, I'm looking at them. You want me to leave my shoes here? And I'm hoping they say no. But, they'll say, oh, don't worry about it. If I get that, I take them off. If I get no, you take those off, you're not doing any business with us. Our friends wear shoes in our home. I'll keep my shoes on. but I'm doing everything I can. And now I'm going to go sit where, again, contrary to insurance, you lead them to the table, lead them to the dining room table. You do business on the table. Stop it. The technique is I want to sit where they are more comfortable. Um, One family that I sat with, whom I sold a protection policy to, the wife came to the door and I started taking my shoes off. The husband followed and said, "Don't take those off." And I strictly looked at him and I said, "You're going to get me in trouble with the wife before I'm even able to say hi to you guys. I want that connection. I want them to see me as part of the family." And he looks at it and said, "Son, you're not taking those off." So I walked in there and, oh my goodness, his name was John. He was the person I was able to help. Marcia was her name. And I said, "Marcia, I tried taking off my shoes." And she just laughed. I immediately had a connection, guys. Take off your shoes. At least try to. Sit where they're comfortable at. Another one that I sat down with Saturday, she was 28 years old. She had a 7-year-old Nathan, and Serenity was her 8-year-old daughter. What a wonderful family. Single mom. And I see the dining room or the dinette table that she had set up in the kitchen, and I'm thinking, because she really didn't have comfortable seating arrangement in the living room, and it was kind of poorly lit. I had to turn the light on my phone to see the questions on my questionnaire, not my application, but my questionnaire as I was filling it out for her. I wrote her up a $15 a month Mutual of Omaha. Why did I do Mutual of Omaha? Because I'm trying to convince Phoenix to move a little bit faster. So I'm leaning more business now towards Mutual of Omaha, even though I like Phoenix's product better, because I want you to get paid. You're waiting 2 to 3 weeks to get paid with Phoenix. They're starting to shorten that up. It's closer now to 9 business days, but it's been every bit of 15 business days. So anyhow, I wrote her up a $15 a month Mutual of Omaha. Within about 45 minutes, I was out. What do I think of it? You're at a 110% contract with Mutual of Omaha. That's a pretty decent 45 minutes. Don't scoff off those 10 and 12 and $15 policies, guys. That was a seating arrangement. And when it's a husband and wife, I was sitting on the couch in that scenario, and she was sitting on the ottoman with her 2 kids running back and forth. With a seating arrangement, I want to be sitting closer to the man if it's a husband and wife. Put it out. Oh, that's old-fashioned. No, it's not, guys. Do right by your clients, by the families whom you're trying to protect. You want to be sitting, if you're male, sit closer to the male. If you're female, sit closer to the female. I don't want any weird dynamic thinking in my other client's brain. As soon as I sit down, I'm taking a deep breath and going, wow, technique. My technique is I want them to know that they've had a better day than me. Even though I might be like one of our agents that's going to be on our call on Friday this week, who sold $1 million IUL. Even though I may have sold $1 million IUL that I know I'm going to be paid over $140,000 on, I am looking at this family, going to them and protecting them, not because I need the money. I could do without selling it all on Saturday, guys, and I want you to be able to get there too, but I'm leading from the front to show you that this business can work even if you're just writing it 1 day a week. But I look at them and I just say, wow, has your day been pretty crazy? Has it been just off the chart crazy? Most of the time they say, oh no, we've actually had a pretty good day. Bingo, I won. And I look at them and I just say, could I bother one of you guys for a glass of water? I want them now serving me. It just turned. You see in 1 through 6, I'm serving. Number 7, they serve me. The tide has changed. I want that. Now you go here. I'm directing my production. And then as we go into our final stage here, I want to know right away, very much up front, who filled out this form. I want to know why I'm here. Everyone on this call, I will send out to everyone the in-home fact finder. I am now at my magnificent 8. I am at the spot in my in-home fact finder that says 401k retirement plan. I'm getting to line 8 within 15 minutes. Why? Because I told that person on the phone last night or the night before, because remember, I'm setting my appointments within 48 hours. I told that person that I am going to be setting up a 15-minute visit. When I'm at line 8, I make sure I'm there within 15 minutes. Not going into a presentation at this point, but know that at line 8 and at 15 minutes, when I get their approval to move forward, because I look at line 8 and I know how much their mortgage is, how much their mortgage payment is, I know what type of life insurance they have, I know what type of savings they have, if they can offset this mortgage. It's not because I'm nosy, but I want to make sure, guys, I don't want to counsel you in telling you you need this protection when you have maybe $500,000 in your retirement. Now, John, speaking to my client, my potential client, John, you may want that retirement for your wife to live on, and I might be here because you want to just supplement that retirement. But let's do a brainstorm here and find out, any other savings or other things that could offset the mortgage amount. See how I did that? Guys, you've got to become user-friendly. The more user-friendly you are in this business, the more relational you are in this mortgage protection business, or it's a final expense lead. We do both. I'm very proud of our final expense leads as well. But the more user-friendly you'll be, the more relatable you'll be. There is no way you can't get over at least 50%. I hear too many agents saying that they're not even at a 50% close ratio. That's unacceptable to you. You deserve, let me put it that way, you deserve a higher closing percentage. You need to walk into that home knowing that you've got at least a 50% shot at closing that person. And let's do a little bit of a mind shift at writing up a protection plan for that person. Not an insurance policy, guys, but a protection plan for that person. Listening, of course, absolutely, incredibly, clients should be doing at least 50 to 75% of the talking. If you're doing more than 40%, count on not making a sale. Just go ahead and count on it. If you have got, goodness, how gross can I get? Diarrhea of the mouth. If you are just running on and touting how well you are adversed in this insurance business, you've lost your clients, at least the people who are filling out our forms. Remember, every 1,000 mailers we send out for you, we only expect back 6 to 10. We are only expecting back because we're getting less than a 1% return on our mailers. It doesn't matter to you because you only pay for what we get back. But we go into it believing that we are doing good if we can get back 10 out of every 1,000 we mail for you. If only 1% of the nation is even taking time to fill out this form, think of how narrow of a window you are dealing with folks and how interested these folks are. So many of our leads will have the husband's information on, and he'll write his cell and work number. Then he'll put in parentheses, this is my wife's, this is her cell number, her work number. Guess what? Oh my goodness, I stopped thinking of this as a lead form, and you'll see on my next slide about what new terminology it is. It's not a lead form, it's really the sale. Think of that. This isn't a lead anymore. This is the sale. They have filled out saying yes to either I want my mortgage paid off when I die, or I want a plan to put in place should I get sick or injured and I almost die. I want money to help me live, or I want to be able to pay into this plan, and when my mortgage is paid off or when this plan is ended, I want all my money back. Those are the only 3 reasons that they fill this out. There's no promise of knives, airfare tickets, nothing. Those are the only so when they have said yes, 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 it's a sale. And then when I say be on a date, I already explained about how that my wife I know how to be relatable. I know how to be likable. For her to look at my whole scenario, say, divorced dad of 3 boys? Yeah, I'll date that guy. I'm a good salesman. No, she saw sincerity. She saw somebody whom she could trust. She saw somebody who was likable. She saw all the things of what I want you to be when you're sitting with a family trying to write them protection. If you're not there, then read more. If you're not there, then be around people whom you see that are that way. That's the only way you're going to change. The books you read and the people you're around. That's it. You can do all these self-help seminars. You're going to get more benefit out of the people who are there who are trying to improve themselves than the seminar itself. The books you read, the people you're around. Always reassure, put clients at ease. Find out who filled out that quote unquote lead form. Why did he or she fill it out? Prompt their answer if needed. So I'm sitting there and I say, John, this looks like pretty neat handwriting, but did you fill it out? It could be as sloppy as all get out. I'm not going to say, it looks kind of sloppy. This you, John? Whereas it looks really very neat. Did you fill it out? The wife can come back and say, with a gracious mode, no, I filled that out. I want to find out who filled it out. After I find that out, usually I've got to convince the other person of why I'm here. Technique. Why didn't that other person fill it out? I need to find out their why, even really before the person who filled it out. Very important. And then I can go into, and they're kind of him-hawing around, then I'll go and say, most of the folks who fill out one of these forms is looking for, so I can prompt them. Most of the folks who fill out this form, John, they're looking to make sure that their house is paid off upon their death for their wife and children. Is that why you filled it out? So I'm going to prompt it right in there. You want a single person. They filled it out. Don't wonder why they filled it out. Help prompt them. If I'm sitting with a single person, like I did, I think I shared with you guys on Friday, oh my goodness, Marty, when I sat down with Marty here in Indianapolis, just moved down from Chicago with 71 years old, $150,000 mortgage, single, and with one adult child and grandchildren. I'm thinking in my mind, stinking thinking, why did she fill it out? She doesn't really have a legacy. Au contraire. Marty wanted a woman. Marty wanted to make sure that she could pass on this house to her daughter as well as her 2 grandchildren. She had a big why. As I was sitting there, I came up with just a 50% of the mortgage and showed her a plan for $75,000. It was like $100 and some odd dollars a month. Then her very first, after I shared that with her, she wasn't interested in the accidental that I gave her a quote for. She focused directly on the life portion. And then she went directly to, how much can I get for $200 a month? So I knew I had what happened there? I knew I immediately had somebody whom I can write protection on. Time's getting away here a little bit, guys. I'm going to try to get through this within the next 5 to 8 minutes. I ended up selling a $250 a month Phoenix, and I submitted that. You know what? This was the Saturday before I left for Disney, and the last Monday. So when I got back from Disney last Monday, Phoenix said, underwriting is approved, but we need her previous address. So real cool. Within 6 days, Marty was approved. $250, guys, a month. Multiply that times 12, multiply that now times your percentage. Most of you guys are on a 90, 100% contract. So 250, what is that? 3,000 some odd dollars. Multiply that now times 100%. Still, let's put it around $3,000. Multiply that times, most of you guys are on advance. 75% of that is what? Over $2,000 for that hour and 15 minutes that I sat with Marty. Guys, this business works. Ask the right questions. You've got to be inquisitive in a gentle, sincere way. Ask questions up front to diffuse objections later. Questions to focus on the stated need. Why are you doing this? Okay. Well, I want to make sure my son has a college education. I want to make sure. I want to make sure. I want to make sure. Focus now. Your production is all centered on that theme. My theme with Marty was I want to leave a legacy for my family. That was my production. Marty's legacy. It was that focused. That was my production. First, closing questions at my 15-minute mark. Not a lot of time to go into that, but you remember when I talked about being at line 8? At line 8, and I get their permission to move beyond the 15 minutes. At line 8, as soon as they say, and I show them the questions I need to go through on the one side, and after I ask you these health questions, on the back side, I'm going to give you one quote here for accidental, one quote, 75% of the mortgage is what I'm going to quote them. I don't tell them that then, but one quote at an accidental, one quote for each on the full term, and I get there and I show them that, and then I look at them and say, I see why you have me here. You want to sleep better at night. You want to make sure that your wife has the house with her kids. I see why I'm here. I'm a man of my word. I told you 15 minutes. I'm at the 15-minute mark. I need your permission, and I'm going to maybe lean in a little bit closer to them and talk a little bit softer. I need your permission to move forward. I'm a man of my word, a man of integrity. I'm not going to go another minute without saying I'm going to need probably about 10 or 15 minutes on this side and maybe 10 minutes on the other side before we take 5 minutes to fill out the questionnaire, if it makes sense to you. My first closing point, fill out the questionnaire. It's the first time they heard that. Okay, yeah, we can give you that permission. Now my real first closing hard close comes after that 15-minute mark. This is a technique you've got to implement or you're wasting your time going through your whole presentation, and 45 minutes, an hour, hour and a half later, they say, we're going to think about it. I'm going to handle that right there. I've got to handle I'm going to think about it. I don't do anything on the first day. I don't do anything, without praying about it. I'm going to handle it right there. And unless I feel confident I've overcome it, I will not continue. Don't waste your time. I've got to talk to 4 new agents. I'm not going to go any further unless I see 3 other agents. You've got to handle it right there. I can't handle, I'm not going to do anything else other than I've got to think about it. I'm going to handle that one right here, right now for you. Technique. Guys, I'm excited to be able to share with you that I have an unrestricted and proven license for the state of Indiana, for the state of Texas, wherever you're at, but unrestricted and unlimited is what I usually say. So I'm very excited to be able to let you know that we can put this protection in place tonight. Now, it's got to be in your budget, and you are going to set that price. But most of the folks I sit with to protect, hear how I said that. I didn't say most of the clients I sit with and I write insurance on. I didn't say that. Most of the families, most of the persons I sit with and help get them protection are really happy to hear that we can put a plan in place tonight. Tell me how that makes you guys feel. That as I walk out of the house, we're going to have a plan in place. We're going to fill out the questionnaire, and I can't promise you you'll get approved. I've been doing this for a long time. If you've been doing it for 4 weeks, I've been doing it for a long time. It's been longer than 1 day. 4 weeks is a long time. I've been doing this for a long time, or I've got a team that's been working with me for a long time. Gordon's been in the business for over 30 years. You have a team that's been working with you for a long time, and I'll be able to put this protection in place for you tonight. From there, we're going to have to pray about it. Well, guys, I've got a church background, or you've probably been praying on this for a lot longer than just tonight. I know, John. Find out their objection. I want to go into so many things here, but I want to think about it. I see and I'll immediately just look at the lead form again, and on the bottom of the lead form, it'll say when they closed on this. It's going to be at least a couple weeks old. Sometimes it's only a couple weeks old, but sometimes it's a month or two before they finally fill out the lead and send it in. And the day that we get it, there's the day that we send it to you. So it's real-time leads. But on the lead form where it says, when they closed, I'll look at it and say 3 weeks. So you closed on this 3 weeks ago. So you've really been thinking about this for 3 weeks, haven't you? John, I am just like you. Somebody talks about putting something in place for me. My immediate reaction is, I'm going to think about it because this joker is trying to sell me something. John, I'm not going to sell you anything tonight. I want to put a plan in place that you set the price. If I sell you something and you feel like I've sold you, I've failed at my objective. I want you to feel confident that we're going to put a plan in place that makes sense to you financially and for the welfare of your family. Is that fair? Do you see why I'm talking about wanting to put something in place? Now, we still have to send the questionnaire back into home office. They have to give us their final approval on it. And if you change your mind, no harm done. However, not but, I hate the word but. But usually says everything else before it's canceled. However, the plan is important for us to put in place tonight, and we can modify it next couple, 2 or 3 weeks. There's no obligation, but there is a decision that, yes, we can say we want this plan tonight. Is that fair? Does that make sense? Nope, we absolutely will not do anything tonight. Well, John, tell you what, I'm going to leave these papers right here that I've already been writing on. And you're looking kind of for a budget figure. Let's see, and I'm going to be within $50 low to $100 high. I'm going to say, you know what? People are all over the board with these protection plans in place, knowing we could probably be somewhere between anywhere from $25 to $100, depending on which one you go to. And Mrs. Wife, about the same with you, but it sounds like you guys need to really mull this over. I'm going to look for 4 ways to close that. When I hear that right there, we're going to think it over. I'm going to go to the wall 4 times before I give up. Hope that helps a little bit, but there's so many other things that you've got to close it right there, at least where you are more leaning towards the fence than the fence leaning towards you. It's real hard to climb up a fence that's leaning towards you, but if it's leaning away, it's a lot easier to scale. You've got to close it at line 8 when you get the permission to move forward, or stop. Stop right there and come back another time. Don't just give them a hunting license. All right, here's my number 3, peeling the onion. And again, I'll send this out. But if you are not connecting on all of these emotions, and I've got one more slide to go. With the security, what we are doing today is just a baby step to earn your trust. I really emphasize on that. I want them to know that this is just a baby step. This isn't what we do just as our only focus. I want to earn your trust to be able to be there when you need life insurance, when you need coverage for your children, when you need retirement products. That gets an immediate affinity with the folks that I'm sitting with, because all of a sudden they're relaxing, saying, oh, okay, so this is just kind of the initial stage. We are a full financial services firm. We want to become a financial partner with everything about your family. Emotional strength, get both husband and wife emotionally invested. I kill off each other, guys. 50% of the time, they're either tears or their eyes are usually, a lot of times the guy's trying to be strong. And then I see tears welling up in the wife's eyes because I've killed off her husband, and I need her to feel what it's like and what plans they have in place. Do they have the right plan? If you will do that, by just itself, that technique there will close you at least half the time, minimally. My emotional sensitivity, I've got to learn to sell people concepts and ideas, not products, oh my gosh, or policies. That's an entire PowerPoint by itself. You've got to learn to sell people concepts and ideas, not products or policies. Remember, you're directing an on-stage performance. Here's my last slide, guys. Musts, absolute musts. If you are not getting out the client's policies, leave. Well, we don't know where they're at. Well, I'll come back when you find them. Because when you propose something, oh yeah, that policy, yeah, it's a $10 million policy. We don't need yours. What are you going to do? You can't do anything. It's a $100,000 policy. No, for sure, just about anybody who's making minimum wage, excuse me, needs more than $100,000 of coverage. If you're sitting with the client, understand they filled out the lead form for a reason, not for you to come back and say, well, I don't think you need this. I don't care if my folks I'm sitting with have $1 million policy in place. I've got a couple of them on my life. If I filled out this form, I must have filled it out for a reason. Maybe I want my wife to live on what life insurance I have, and I don't have to worry about paying off the house. So if they filled out the form, go and find out why. Here's my new terminology I really would encourage you to incorporate. No longer do you have insurance carriers that you can write insurance policies on your clients. No longer do you have insurance carriers. What do you have? You have a home office. I've got to send in this questionnaire to home office to see if we are able to get this protection in place. Oh, such user-friendly terminology. My local office, my local insurance agency is just my local office. This insurance is protection. Am I an insurance agent? Absolutely, and proud of it. Do I call myself, hey, I'm your insurance agent? Heavens, no. I'm your contact person. I'm your go-to guy. You need anything, here's my card. My card say insurance agency on it? Heck no. We are West Point Financial. After my son who went to West Point, that changed from a Heart for Families, and we changed over to several years ago, West Point Financial. This is not a lead. Oh, this is a response form, guys. And the folks who fill it out are not leads. We can talk like that. You'll hear me talk about clients and insurance carriers and leads. That's okay to talk among ourselves, but when you're in that home, you're directing a performance. Get those words out of your mouth. You're looking at a response form. You're looking at a responder, so a new word, a responder that says, come help me. And then finally, that lead form, it is the sale. That's it. They said, here, come and write up protection on me. That is a must. Everything gets paid off with mortgage protection. Sometimes it's just mortgage payment protection. I told you about Jeff on Saturday. We covered that one. Remember, guys, you're directing an on-stage performance. You're directing it. You're not starring in it. You get in the background. You get in the afterglow of the on lights of the stage, and you just simply direct. You let your key performers be the folks that you're trying to write protection on, and you will increase your closing percentage. I don't make very many promises. I will promise you, you follow these steps, these techniques, especially wrapping it around with sincerity and humility. I will even say, guarantee you that you will increase in your closing percentage. Guys, I love you. I appreciate the time that you share with us on a Tuesday and on a Friday. I am so excited about Friday. I have 4 agents that's going to be on the phone. I've got one out in Missouri, one in Ohio, one out in Colorado, one way down in Florida. We're going to move pretty fast on Friday, and I'm going to go into some withdrawals because the following 2 Fridays, Christmas and New Year's, we won't be having our Friday call. I'm going to be so sad. But Friday, we're going to have 4 agents. We're going to go through our leaderboard, some of our celebration folks that we're going to be taking to New Orleans with us. I'm going to be talking about some of those folks who have qualified by putting in 30 applications of mortgage protection in the last 6 months. And tune in to our call on Friday. It happens every Friday at 11 a.m. unless we are celebrating our Lord's birth or celebrating the new year. So for the next 2 Fridays, we're going to miss that call. Next Tuesday, a week from today, we're going to be focusing in on Phoenix. How do you write a Phoenix policy? Why do you write Phoenix policy? When to write a Phoenix policy? And we'll have an executive on board with us next Tuesday, and we can tell them, hey, increase your getting these issued, and we're going to write more for you. Guys, you go out and be an agent who's making it happen. Be an agent who's making it happen for your income. Be an agent who's making it happen for your family. And if you do number 3, be an agent who makes it happen for somebody whom you're writing a protection policy on. If you make it happen for your clients, the first 2 always gets taken care of. God bless. Have a wonderful Tuesday.